Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Jess. I am super excited to be filming today's video because I am filming a Q&A for you guys. I asked you guys questions on my Instagram last week and about anything and everything, and I got some really amazing questions, a whole mix of them about recovery, about my life, about advice I have and everything like that. So I'm super keen to sit down with you guys today and answer some questions. I've got my laptop here and I wrote up all of the questions last night in a little notes app, so I had them all, but I haven't really thought about them too much because I wanted my answers to be as sort of like candid and honest as I can. I feel like sometimes if I think about my answers too much, like they're not as, I just wanted to be candid. I don't really know what I was trying to say there other than I just wanted my answers to be super candid for you guys. Let's get into it. Okay, so first up is a recovery-based question, and it is, did you feel extreme exhaustion in recovery? And 1000% my answer to that is yes. I was so exhausted, and what really blew my mind was that when I was really restricting and I was like very ill pre-diagnosis and even into early diagnosis phase, that I was I was crazy. I was still in full-time uni. I worked all the time, and I worked like 8-hour shifts, and I would do like late night shifts. Like I'd be working till like midnight or 1 a.m. I was socializing, but not really. I did really start to revert into myself, but I was going out, I was doing stuff, I was working out all the time, and I wasn't exhausted. But then as soon as I started recovery, I was really exhausted. And that was a bit of like a mind screw with me, I guess, because I was a bit like, well, if I was doing fine on all this, like why do I need to eat more? I'm more tired now. But it was just because I stopped and I gave my body time to recover that it actually like acknowledged how tired I was. But yeah, extreme exhaustion. Like I really struggled with chronic fatigue in high school for other reasons. And I honestly feel like this exhaustion was worse. I was so tired. I literally my doctors are probably 20 minutes away from where I live, and I would like fall asleep driving there when my mum would drive me there. Like I was just so tired. I couldn't stay up past like 6:37. Like, yeah, absolutely so exhausted. But it did get better. It did take a while, but once I started eating properly, feeling my body again, and once I started rebuilding a lot of like organ and heart function and everything, it did get a lot better. But that is definitely challenging, especially like because I did the bulk of my really hard recovery in lockdown last year. I was really blessed in that sense because I didn't have to do anything. Like I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have, I'd graduated uni, but I didn't have any expectations other than going to my appointments and coming home. So I was really lucky in that sense, but it is hard to sort of deal with recovery exhaustion when you are trying to live your life. So treat yourself nicely. And I was really lucky that everybody in my life, when I did go back to work as well, was super understanding of that. Next question is, this was a joint question. How did you get over your digestive issues? Now I'm assuming, for me, digestive issues are a huge blanket term because I have always had digestive issues my whole life. But I'm assuming you're asking about my eating disorder related ones, and especially like my extreme like fullness feelings and like bowel movement issues and bloating and everything like that. How did I get over them? Honestly, this is gonna be like a pretty obvious answer, but I just lived through it and just kept eating. It was very, very hard for me, and I know that sounds like such a blanket way of being like, just keep eating, because like that's what the doctors were telling me, and I was like, you don't understand, it's too hard, I don't want to do this. But honestly, I just kept going, taking it one meal at a time. Always had a heat pack on my stomach, warm showers, peppermint tea. I take D-gas, which is like a peppermint oil pill that helps, I don't know, get rid of gas, I don't know. But I know there's a few things like that out there. Tried to drink a lot of water, but not water load. That's sort of a balance I had to play around with. And then for a long time I was on, with my doctor's like guidance, I was on Movicol and Osmolax because they're not stimulant laxatives. They're just osmotic laxatives, which basically gets your like digestive system and your bowels moving to help push through what you need, compared to a stimulant one, which is like pushes it all through sort of not organically, and obviously can be addictive and damaging. So how did I get over my digestive issues? I just waited them out. If there was a quick fix, oh my God, I would be on it, but there's really not. And I still struggle with it. Like literally last night I woke up with really bad bloating and everything, and that really played into like the bad body image. But yeah, you've just got to acknowledge that like this is what your body's doing, and it's doing it for a reason. Your body's not doing it to spite you. Your body is trying to process something. Like sometimes you just get bloated because you eat too much fiber, or you eat something that's really like bubbly, like you drink a soft drink or something like that. Like it's not the end of the world. Like just comfy clothes and just take it moment by moment. Yeah, I don't think there's any like, this is how you get over them. You've just got to like, you've got to commit to recovery and understand that digestive issues are just part of it. And not get caught up in that, because otherwise it can really hinder your recovery. And I definitely did experience that at times. Okay, next question is, did you lose your period? Now, I think I've touched on this before, but I really can't remember how specific I was with you guys. So I have a Mirena, which is an IUD, which is like a form of contraception. It's like the little like Y-shaped thing that like goes up into your, I don't even know where it sits, your ovaries, I don't even know. Anyway, and I got that put in 2017, I believe. 2017, yeah. So I haven't had my period since then. However, when you have the Mirena, you still ovulate, which means you can get ovulation pains and cramps, but you don't get an actual period. And I didn't actually know until recently that you still ovulated on the Mirena. I just sort of forgot that that was a thing that happened when you had the Mirena. And I've actually noticed only recently I've been experiencing ovulation pains, and I was thinking back and I'm like, oh God, there was like a period of time where I didn't feel anything. And that really got me thinking like, maybe my body did lose its period, but I just didn't know. And I can definitely see a difference now. Like I know, like, because in the past my doctors would be like, oh, you would know when you're ovulating because you'll still get the symptoms of it, but you just won't get a period. And in the past I was like, no, that's not the case at all. Like I literally never got anything, and I just thought it was like, great, like I'm on the Mirena, I get nothing at all. But no, I actually was supposed to be ovulating, and I actually don't think I was. So that is not doctor backed up. That is something I've had a realization of very recently. But so, oops, sorry. So I don't know if I lost my period, but just like feeling what I feel in my body now, I think I did, but I'm not gonna say whether or not, because you can still have severe anorexia and not lose your period. It's not like a diagnostic criteria, even though some people make you feel like it. It's really not. Some people have their period all through severe anorexia and some people don't. It's just the way different bodies work. So yeah, I'm a bit unsure about that question, unfortunately. The next question is, what were your thoughts on the movie To The Bone, which is the movie on Netflix starring Lily Collins, and it's about a girl struggling with anorexia, and she goes to like a recovery home, I believe, like a therapy home, and lives with people similar age to her who are also struggling with mental health issues, severe mental health issues, I believe. This movie, it's interesting. I've seen this movie 1.5 times. The first time I watched it, I didn't have anorexia yet. This is when it was first come out. And honestly, I was a bit like, okay, like that was crazy, like whatever. Like I was a bit impartial to it. And then late last year, I tried to watch the movie again and I couldn't get through it. I did find it quite triggering, because obviously it shows behaviors that I used to engage with, and shows someone who is very ill still and isn't really on that recovery path. And I did find it really triggering. I mean, I don't really think it's my place to say whether it's like a good movie or a bad movie. I think it is good to have a movie that touches on such a topic that has such a stigma around it, such as eating disorders, and it obviously like shines a light on a lot of other mental health issues throughout the film as well. But I mean, I don't know, I know that Lily Collins has suffered herself with eating disorders, so I don't know, yeah, I don't know, I mean, if you're going through recovery or anything like that, I wouldn't recommend watching it. I think it's a huge trigger, and it definitely did trigger me. I couldn't get through it. But yeah, I think it's got its pros and cons, like a lot of things that touch on quite taboo subjects, even though I don't think eating disorder discussions should be taboo. But yeah, no, definitely I probably wouldn't advise it for someone suffering. But if you're just a person out there who wants to watch a movie, then yeah, give it a watch. Do you think orthorexia is real? Absolutely, I do, because I did have it. I don't even know. I feel like early days I might have mentioned it on my vlogs to you guys, but my dietitian and my therapist definitely found that I really suffered with orthorexia. And I think orthorexia was really a gateway for me into anorexia, because I became obsessed with healthy, clean eating, like nothing processed, like everything, blah, 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 like when I was in grade 10. So now that's like 3, 4, 6, 7 years ago. Was it? Yeah. Holy, really? 7 years ago, I think I was in grade 10. That is when I first jumped on board because I got really into paleo. Don't waste your time, guys. And I feel like from there it really manifested in really awful ways, to a point where I couldn't eat anything that like wasn't like XYZ, like of like that really clean, healthy, blah, blah, blah. And I think orthorexia is something that doesn't get noticed enough in the modern day, especially because of social media. And I see so much stuff online that I know back in the day I would have been absolutely like obsessed with reading, like I would have adapted it into my lifestyle, like what these like wellness people are saying, like, you know, like just all this ridiculousness of like what you should and shouldn't eat, like how bad it is to eat this, how like you need to have this perfect morning routine and drink your lemon water and blah blah. And like if you like lemon water, do it, but like it doesn't do anything for you. Like, you know, like that whole wellness, online wellness topic, I think really encourages some really toxic ideologies that feed straight into orthorexia. So 100% I think it's real, and I actually think it needs more discussion, because I know so many health professionals that do not know what it is, will not diagnose with it, and I think it is something that like is super damaging and will continue to be very, very damaging because of the access we have to media and people spreading false information, or information they just have experience with but don't actually know how to correctly apply it. So yeah, it definitely is real. So next question is a bit more of a lifestyle one. Did you like your high school? Now, hello to the person who asked this question. I hope you're well. I know who you are. And did I like my high school? I was very lucky to go to a very, very good school. My parents put my sister and I through a private girls' school, and I was very, very privileged to have access to a good education. And I liked my school within itself. I went there since grade 2, and I think it was a very good school. Did I like high school? No. It is probably one of the worst times of my life. I went through a lot in high school, and I think high school is a very toxic time, and I was surrounded by a lot of toxicity in my life then, I feel. And I just feel like when you're a teenager, and coming from the point of view of like when I was a teenage girl, surrounded by teenage girls every day, there's a lot of issues that naturally arise, and unfortunately I was caught up in a lot of them, and it was a very, very unhappy time for me. And honestly, a lot of my, this sounds dramatic, but it's not, like this is what I talk about with my therapist, like a lot of my trauma from high school has really manifested itself to like get me to like the mental health points that I am, or that I was, with, you know, my really bad restriction and anxiety and depression and everything like that. Like high school was definitely a huge trigger for that. But yeah, I was so unhappy, and I look back now, and I didn't really get much help in high school, because I just thought like, I was very much like, I'm fine, blah, 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 like screw all this. I was such like an angry teen, and I feel as though, like looking back, I had a lot of issues back then that I probably didn't recognize now until I'm a lot older. But yeah, did I like my school itself? Yes. Did I like high school? No. I met some great people in high school. I went to school with some fantastic people, and I value them very much. And it's not saying that everybody I went to school with was bad. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. I just think like high school sucked, and I hated high school. And it was a very, very dark time for me, and I wouldn't want to go back. So, yay, I'm out of there. No thank you, school. Are you dating or seeing anyone? You guys want to know the tea? Well, no, not really. Like I date, like I have been like dating a bit more recently, I guess. Like I've gone out with a few people, like seen a few people like a few times, but I haven't, like, I don't have a relationship I don't have a boyfriend or anything. I just sort of, I'm on the apps, you know, I'm on Tinder. So I do see people from that. Like I go out on dates and do stuff, but no, I am not in a relationship. I don't know why, when I got that question, I laughed so hard, guys, because I was just like, this is sad. Because I wish I had so much tea to tell you guys and I could do like a big reveal, but I don't. Like no, sorry. Next question is, how do you become more confident with having snacks / unplanned eating times? How do you become more confident? I honestly think, like anything in recovery, you've just got to do it again, challenge it, do it again, and just keep having it. Like I had to have 3 snacks a day and 3 meals a day when I was on my really structured eating plan. And then sometimes it would fall, like I would have breakfast and then I would have to have like 2 snacks in between before I could get to lunch, just depending on what the day did. And I just had to do it. Like it was so uncomfortable, but I just had to keep practicing it. I just had to remind myself, like I found visualizations really helpful in recovery, and I just tried to remind myself, like something really close, like even like 2 years from now, Jessica, 2 years from now, you're traveling, let's hope, traveling the world, and you are with your friends or your family or significant other or whatever, and you want to try the foods, but if you don't recover, you're not going to be able to, and you're not going to be able to immerse yourself in those situations. Like I ask myself, like, Jessica, do you want to be able to have a random cake because someone brought it in to work and they want you to try it? Do you want to be able to have a bite of someone's meal just because it looks good? Do you want to go out for last minute ice cream with your friends on a summer night because you're all free and you want to go see each other? Yes, I do. Yes, yes, yes to all those questions. So I was like, well, I have to practice this now if that's what I want to do. I often thought, I think especially in early recovery, I often had this mindset of, oh, it'll just fall into place. Oh, it'll just happen. Like, I'll get there, I'll recover. Like, I'm seeing all these doctors, I'll recover and I'll get there. And the thing is, unless you practice it, like for me, I only saw my doctors once to twice a week. All of the other hours in the week was me driving that. So if I wasn't putting in the work while I was away from them, that maybe 5-6 hours altogether of like appointments I had a week would be absolutely redundant. Like there's 24 hours in a day, take 6 out of, like say like 6 out of that is 18 hours still just in one day that I had to myself, that I had to apply these recovery protocols. So I think honestly, you just have to keep doing it and like just have random challenges. Even if you're at home and you've had lunch and you've had your snack, have another snack before dinner. While you're making dinner, have another snack. And I just tried to always keep sort of distracted through those eating times. Like eating on the go was something really hard for me, but something that I also found quite helpful. Like run out the door, grab a protein bar and eat it between closing the front door and getting to the car, which for me is doable, but if you park right outside, maybe not. But you know what I mean? Like eating while I'm driving, which eating something simple while I'm driving, like a cookie, that's like one bite, not something I'm distracted eating while driving, but like things like that don't really allow me to think too much. Or like if I was out with my family, I would tell them like I need to have a snack and let them sort of bring it up. But yeah, you just got to keep doing it and keep practicing it. That's my best piece of information, my best tip. But it's hard. It is hard, but like I never thought I could do it, but now I can. Like I never thought I could like have a bite of something of my friends because they're like, hey Jess, have a taste of this. Never thought I could do it. I literally did that yesterday. I did that yesterday and I moved on with my life and it was fine. I had thoughts about the calories, but then I was like, oh wait, that doesn't matter because it tasted good. Do you struggle with mental health other than your eating disorder? Absolutely. I've always struggled with anxiety, and I saw a psychologist when I was in grade 4 or grade 6, or maybe in between those times. I suffer with really, really severe panic attacks every single day. And I've always had anxiety, always struggled with anxiety. That's just something I've always had to deal with. Depression and OCD was something that I was definitely depressed in high school looking back, but like depression, OCD definitely came along with the anorexia, and something that I've dealt with a lot. Yeah, what else? Orthorexia is definitely mixed in with my anorexia, but that's obviously an eating disorder. But yeah, anxiety, depression, and OCD were probably the 3 other main ones that I've suffered with. And as a lot of you probably already know, I am on antidepressants, and that's helped with a lot of that. But obviously working with my therapists and just daily management of those behaviors have helped me be able to like live with them a bit more and like recover from them. But yeah, I definitely do struggle with other mental illnesses other than an eating disorder. Okay, how did you start eating more consistently? I just went on a meal plan, and like my dietitian didn't put me on a like, you have to eat this, 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 and this, because my mum was beside me my whole recovery journey. She would often talk with my dietitian about what I was eating and like everything like that. But I had three meals and 3 snacks a day, and that is just how I did it. And that's just how I got through it. You've just got to stick to your meal plan. Tell people about your meal plan that you trust, so they can sit beside you when you need help, track you when you know that you need a bit extra support. But yeah, absolutely, a meal plan is the best way to go. It's really hard to stick to. It is really hard to stick to, but like, trust me, it pays off. But yeah, definitely a meal plan, and also like using that visualization of what do I want to do in the future? Do I want to be able to eat whenever I want and feel comfortable doing that? Yes. Well, then I have to apply that now. I have to follow my meal plan now to recover, to heal my body, to heal my mind, to heal my soul, so I can get to a happier place where I can live my life and enjoy my life, and food isn't the forefront of it. It's just something that I consume. Yeah. Okay guys, sorry if the camera angle has changed slightly. I just had to stop filming because my battery was about to run out. So apologies if it's changed a bit, but we should be fine, right? Alrighty, back to the questions. How do you deal with people commenting on weight changes in recovery? Honestly, I think, like, I haven't had anybody come up to me and say like, oh, like, you look like you've gained weight, blah, 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 blah. But I still do have people come up and say like something like, you look so much healthier, or you look so much like more filled out, you look so much stronger. And at first that really bothered me, and I hated when people said that I looked healthier, because my brain at the time was like, if I look healthy, they're saying that I look fat. And that was obviously a very fat phobic mindset to have. But when you are recovering from anorexia, that is something that is very prominent in your mind. Like, everybody thinks I'm like gaining all this weight and blah, blah, blah. So that was a big thing. And like, people would say like, oh, you've just like filled out a bit more. And I'm like, so what does that mean? Like, you're saying I should lose weight? Like, is that what you're saying? Like, I'm like, so you think I eat too much? Like, it's crazy how like your brain takes this one comment that's supposed to be supportive and absolutely blows it out of proportion. And that was something that I really suffered with. And like, the immediate reaction for me from those comments was like, okay, well, you can't eat your next meal, or like, okay, well, you've got to try and sneak in some exercise today, or something like that. But honestly, with time, I just would like voice back to them, especially if it was like my family just trying to give me a supportive comment, and I would react to that. I would tell them like, hey, that really bothers me when you say that. Like, it really triggers me. I find it a lot. And we would have a conversation about why that triggers me and how we can move forward from it. And oftentimes it would be like, please don't say that, or like, let's rephrase it, or like, I would just get used to hearing certain terminology when it came to my body weight. And like, also like people celebrating when I gained weight, like, you know, when my doctors or like my family would find out that I gained weight, they'd celebrate. I'd always be a bit like, no, like, that's like, please stop, this isn't something to celebrate. Like, I don't want to lose weight, I don't want to gain weight. But then over time, I just sort of got used to it. And it's like, it's a big thing in recovery. Like, exposure therapy is huge. And it's like that with hearing people comment on your weight. You've almost got to be exposed to it, because otherwise you're too fragile to have to deal with it. And I think I just sort of had to find it within myself to be like, people aren't doing it to attack you. People are doing it to support you and trying to keep you going. Unfortunately, unless you suffer from an eating disorder, you don't understand the mindset of an eating disorder. I'm sorry, but you don't. And I'm not saying that to try to be like, unless you have this, like, because like, gosh, like, no. But what I'm trying to say is like, the way that my mind works, that person would never expect it. If someone's saying like, you look so healthy, you look so much better, like, they aren't going to expect me to hear that and think, oh my God, they think I'm fat. Oh my God, they think I'm like such a guts and I eat so much and blah, 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 blah. They're saying that and thinking like, oh my God, thank God Jess is feeling so much better. All her treatment's working. Like, I'm so happy. Like, she looks great. Like, she looks healthy. She looks glowing, blah, blah, blah. So I think, sorry, that was a ramble and I sort of just totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, I think honestly, you've just got to like acknowledge that like people want you to recover. And as much as that that voice in your head tells you that you shouldn't, you don't have to, that you're gaining too much weight, that you're too big. You have got to use your healthy brain that you're training with every single anti-eating disorder choice you make. This voice says don't eat, you eat, okay, then that takes one tab away from the bad voice. You have to fight with your healthy voice and say, people call other people, oh, you look so healthy, you know what I mean? It's a compliment. And it still is hard. Like, I don't particularly love being like, compliments always sort of throw me a little bit anyway, because I'm like, oh, people are looking at me, but also like, I think the other day, like, from like a healthy looking point of view, and like obviously I've gone back and started doing Pilates, so I'm gaining a bit of strength and everything, which by the way, my doctor approved me to do that, and I do it with my mum and my physio, so it's very, very monitored. Like the other day, someone, and if you're watching this, you know who you are, was like, oh my God, your bum looks really good in those pants. And I know for a fact in the past, that would have triggered me, and I would have been like, oh my God, your bum, like, oh my God, you're like getting bigger, like they can see your bum. But like how I interpreted that compliment now was like, oh my God, really? My bum looks good? Like, are you serious? Because like, I never had a bum. Like, I just had nothing there because like, I was just like wasting away. And now I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay. So I'm filling out my clothes better. Like I like, these pants are the same pants that I wore when I was ill, but I'm like, I look better in them now and I feel better in them now. So it's interesting how like over time your mind sort of changes how you interpret it. But yeah, I think definitely like, how do you cope with people commenting on it? You've just got to, it's honestly trial by fire, I think, and you've just got to like go into everything expecting it and knowing within yourself that this is your path. No matter what people comment on your body, whether it's too small, it's too big, it's blah, 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 it's blah, blah, blah. This is your journey, this is your path, it's your body. Everybody's body's different. You've just got to sort of acknowledge that you're on recovery and your body will look and do what it needs to do. And as long as you're feeling well, it doesn't matter what you look like. Like as long as you are healthy on the inside, like what you look like on the outside is the least interesting thing about you. Like I'm not kidding, like least interesting thing. But yeah, I hope that helped. That was a bit of like a ramble though. Okay, sort of similar to that question is how did you cope with weight changes / changes in how your clothes fit you, etc. This is something for me that's been super like up and down because I feel like, because I really did a bulk my recovery in lockdown last year, I was wearing like chill clothes. So like, yeah, I wasn't like wearing a lot of like my work clothes, for example. But when I did start wearing those again, they did fit differently, but not hugely. And I think like, I don't really know if I've spoken about this yet in one of my videos because I feel like I'm only just really going through this stage now, but like once your weight restored, not for everybody, but there is like, people who sort of have to gain back weight for health and have really been starved, you go through a weight redistribution phase. And often when you're recovering from anorexia, your weight will like go to your central area, which is like around your stomach and your ribs and everything, because obviously that's where all your major organs are, right? So when your body is regaining, like, because your body's so smart, it goes, okay, well, the first thing I need to do is like, I need to protect all of these vital organs that keep you alive. So like you gain a lot of weight in this area. And so sort of like your like arms and your legs don't really like match. You sort of look, you don't look odd, like that sounds wrong, but like your weight sort of like centralizes in your torso area. And that was something I really struggled with because that area is probably my biggest insecurity, and it definitely still remains to be my biggest insecurity. But I think like at first that really threw a lot of like how my clothes fit, because I was like, oh my God, like there's no way like I'm ever gonna like get these pants on. Like my stomach is so big, I've gained so much weight, like I'm like tripled my sizes and everything. And honestly, like it was just my body protecting itself, and I had to get used to like, okay, well, I either get rid of these clothes and I buy bigger ones. And that's just what I did. And it was really hard, but also like through this process, it made me realize sort of how skewed the sizing system is. Like I'd go into one store and I was this size, and then I'd go into the next store and I was this size, and then the next store I'd be this size, and the next store I'd be this size, and then, but in the same store I'd be this size and this size. Like it was all different. And I spent a lot of time with my therapist talking about how ridiculous the sizing system is. And it just started to lose its value to me. So when my clothes would fit differently, be like, oh, I'm not this numbered size anymore. I'd be like, hold on, Jessica. And I literally did my own research, whereas like I would hold up a pair of pants that were size A, let's say, and then I would hold up a second pair of pants that was size A, and they would have different length waistbands. And I'd be like, how am I so affected by this when not even the stores can get it right? There is no universal sizing system. It's sort of like whatever the store feels like making a size 6 or a size 8 or a size 14, they do. And then the next store has a different idea. So I just really worked at trying to remove that moral value. And also when my clothes would fit differently, I found it really helpful to go op shopping, because I don't really pay attention to sizes in op shops, because obviously the clothes are all from different stores and different eras. And if I find something cool in an op shop, I'll just pick it up and try it on without even looking at it. Like looking at the size, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, because obviously they're just like one-offs. So that really helped a lot with like when I was sort of buying new stuff. But jumping back now to what I was just saying about weight redistribution, I have found probably over the past month or two, because I sort of got my peak weight, my body has been sort of sorting it out. And I think also having done Pilates, I'm gaining a lot of muscle, and my body's sort of like getting to a place where it's really happy and healthy and strong. Yeah, my weight has definitely started to redistribute, and sort of like the comment I made before about like my bum gaining some size, like it's definitely like sort of starting to spread out a bit more. I'm pretty sure my boobs have gotten bigger, not hugely, because like itty bitty titty committee, like let's be honest, but they definitely have gotten a little bit bigger. I think like I've definitely seen more muscle definition in my legs. So obviously like some of my weight is redistributed down there to be able to form the muscles, and definitely like around my torso, it has sort of redistributed a little bit. If it hadn't, that is like what I'm saying. It's not like I feel confident now because it's redistributed, but it's definitely like if it hadn't, it would be something that I was already getting used to anyway, because I was like, okay, maybe this is just where my weight sits. Because weight distribution takes so long to happen, it's easy to like be like, okay, well, this is my body now, blah, 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 blah. But your body's just waiting for you to be healthy enough for it to be like, okay, we can now, instead of protecting all the vital organs, we can now work on putting our energy into building muscle, or like spreading down here, because we now know that like we're getting fed enough, so we can like reduce the amount of protection that we're giving all these organs and give it to some of the legs as well to make them stronger, or give it to the arms, or give it to the shoulders, or the boobs, or the bum. So I keep going off topic of sort of the questions, guys. But yeah, it was definitely a struggle to cope with the weight gain and how my clothes fit differently, but also like my view of my body would be different. So I felt my clothes would fit differently, and all of my sizes, even though I had the same size in my closet, they all fit differently. So I just sort of really tried to focus in on like the truth of it, which was your body isn't changing every day. Your view of yourself changes every day. Your clothing size is not a linear line because of the way they're made, the store you buy them from, the amount of water you drank the day before. Like all of these things has a huge thing to do with how clothes fit. So really, how can you say that you are a size? Like how can you attach yourself to this? Yeah, that sort of was a bit of a ramble, guys. I do find this question a bit hard to answer purely because it is something that is still a little bit hard for me to do, but definitely sort of just like looking at it as like, if this fits, this fits. How many times do you go out in a day and people are like, what size are you? Never. Sometimes if I wear like a bigger size than I normally would, I'll be like, oh my God, I'm wearing a bigger size. Go through the whole day, no one asks me a thing. Like, anyway, I'm gonna move on from this question, but basically you've just got to really focus on the truth of clothing and understand that like you are not made to fit clothes. Clothes are made to fit you. You shouldn't have to squeeze into clothes, because clothes should fit you. You clothe your body. Your body doesn't fill clothes, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I hope that helps. Sorry, that was a bit rambly. Sort of linking into that question, guys, did you feel that after a while you had better overall body image with weight gain and eating more? 1000%. This sort of links back to what I was just talking about a little bit, guys, with my body changes and everything, and like sort of acknowledging like being able to think clearer about things as my brain healed and was fed. But like the weight that I am now at the start of recovery, or at my lowest point, I remember thinking, oh my God, if I ever weigh that much, oh my God, no, like I will not, no, that is so embarrassing. I will not ever make it there. Like I will never gain that much weight, blah, 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 blah. Like I remember thinking that, and like my doctors being like, you'll probably end up around here, blah, 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 blah. And me being like, like me nodding in the doctor's office being like, yeah, okay, but really thinking, I'll never let you get to that weight. Like, that is crazy. And like, here I am at that weight, and I am happier, I am healthier, I am more energetic, I am stronger, I am enjoying myself more, I am more engaged in my life and other people's lives, I am more clear-headed, I am more motivated. Like, it changed my life. And until I started gaining the weight, I wasn't able to experience the benefits that I was getting from gaining it. And I think, sort of linking back to the previous question about like the weight gain with my body image and clothing and everything, obviously it was really hard at first, but honestly, like, I found that my brain slowly, it was like I was turning a dial slowly, and then I just felt like every so often the dial would get turned a little bit more, and I would be more confident in things, and I'd want to try new styles. And I look back at photos now from when I was really sick, or even before I really think I was really engaging in restriction, but like just when I had like probably like a lot of orthorexia present in my life, and also just really poor body image. What I was wearing at the time was so the same, and it was fine with what I was wearing, but like I look back now, like I'm able to look back now and be like, oh, like I knew like I was sort of like had bad body image, so I sort of like stuck with the same style, but now my body image is so much better, I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone. And that confidence has come with weight gain. And I never thought I'd say that, because I remember people telling me that at the start of recovery, and me being like, absolutely not. Smaller equals better. Like, that was my mindset, my ill mindset. Smaller equals better, where absolutely that is not the case. It is healthier equals better. And I think that, yeah, as I gained weight, my body, I could think clearer, which means I coped with the weight gain better, which means when I did gain weight and it threw me a little bit, instead of like you gained weight and me jumping back to, oh my God, I have to restrict, it'd be like, you gained weight, oh, that's scary, but we move on. Because as you get healthier and your brain recovers, you start to realize there's more to life than just food. And I slowly was losing my interest in obsessing over food and having to cook all the time. So all of this time then opened up for me to do other things. And then that also played a big role in my confidence and my body image and being able to eat more, because I was more distracted and more energetic, and I was out and about and eating new things, trying new things. So definitely, I don't think and obviously like I have my bad days, like don't get me wrong guys, I don't want you to think that now that I'm recovered, I'm just this perfectly confident person. Like, absolutely I have body image days, like all the time. And honestly, my body image views change throughout the day. One day I might wake up super confident, then go super insecure, then be confident again, or like the other way around. But I don't think I probably ever felt this level of confidence before, because I know that my body is healthy and that I am doing, like, I am happy and I'm feeding my body. So my body's happy, my mind is happy. And in turn, I'm getting the benefits of having that sort of body confidence. And yeah, so definitely, like, I think the hardest part of recovery is to start and continue and sort of get along this part of the line. And then you can sort of get to this point where you start gaining benefits from recovery. I feel like the first part of recovery is really hard because your body's trying to heal and it's challenging. And then you sort of get to a point where it's still challenging, but slowly but surely you start to experience the benefits of recovery. And that is when I feel like the wheel really starts speeding up and you start to push through recovery, and recovery becomes part of your life more than the focus. And that's definitely the phase I'm in now. And it's definitely worth every ounce of effort I put in back here. Finally, a question I want to end on is, what is the best piece of advice you could give someone in the beginning of recovery? And honestly, I feel like I probably answered this question a little bit throughout this video, but I think I sort of want to summarize it a little bit for the end of the video, guys. And I think what I want to say, if you're out there and you're beginning recovery, or you've relapsed and you're trying to get back into recovery, I think the biggest piece of advice I'd want to give you is that it does get better. And I know that is very cliche of me to say, but coming from someone who would watch recovery videos early on, and see people recovered, and I would just watch them and be like, I'll never get to that stage. Like, I wonder what that's like. And now I'm here. I think like you have just got to take it moment by moment. No matter what people tell you, no matter what you hear, you have got to take it moment for moment, because you are working on healing yourself. As I said earlier, I don't really feel like people understand what it's like to have an eating disorder until you've had one. And trust me, I know how hard it is, and how every moment's different, and sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, and you can get triggered by so many different things. It's really hard to stay on the bandwagon. I fell off the bandwagon so many times, and I still have days where I stumble a little bit and it's hard, but know that everything that you do that goes against that ED voice, even if it's taking that extra sip of the soda, or taking one more bite of the potato, or ending your workout when you want to rather than pushing for the other 5 minutes. Every single little thing you do builds up to be something amazing, and that is your recovery journey. And I just want you to know that you will get there, because if I can get there, you can get there. And this is the whole reason I make these videos for you guys, and to show you the full journey, and to show you now that there's so much life after recovery. Even though starting your journey, or if you're in your journey right now, you feel like recovering from your eating disorder is never going to end, look at me in my life and see that your recovery journey is worth every ounce of energy that you're currently giving it, because it allows you to live a more fulfilled life, and know that your life is not recovery. You are not your eating disorder. You will recover from your eating disorder and become your true self. So I feel like I just want you guys to know that you can do it. And I know it feels like you can't. I know it feels like you can't, because trust me, I felt that every day, but you can do it. And every single step you take is a step closer to recovery. If you stumble in recovery, you are not a failure. You are human. You are recovering from something really hard, probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But know that you can do it, and I believe in you, and that you are not defined by your eating disorder. Your eating disorder is this little alien that you can fight against and win against and live your life to the fullest. And I think that's my biggest piece of advice in recovery, guys. Anyway, that concludes my video today, guys. I do just want to quickly touch on one note before I go though. A while back, I told you guys about my self-monitoring diary on Notion that I was using through my therapy, and I know I said I would share it with you guys, and I have tried to share it through Notion, but it just doesn't work very well. Anyway, if you want access to that template, I've just pasted the link below. You guys, it's fully customizable through Notion, and you guys can just access it down there and use it if you want. I've had a few of you comment on my videos and message me on Instagram asking for it. So the link is below. Check it out, guys. Add to it and show me, if you add anything to it, let me know and show me what you guys are doing if you want to share it. But yeah, definitely fully customizable. I just want to share it with you guys because I know a few of you were after it, and it was really helpful for me to sort of collate all my thoughts and take it to therapy and work through them. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I love being able to answer your guys' questions. It means so much to me that you guys even asked the questions and have come along with me in this journey. I really feel like my life and recovery are really at a nice blended stage at the moment. And I really love being able to show you guys the full journey. I'm so grateful for every single one of you who subscribe, who follow me, who watch this video, or whatever. Love you all. Hope you have a fantastic day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.